Confucius said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." Keep this in mind as we discuss today China's sudden import of United States oil. What does it mean to you? What does it mean for the US economy? And what does it mean for the global economy? My name is Dr. David Waralu.
And my name is Dr. Ross Stewart.
And you are watching Geopolitics in Conflict.
The United States and China have just signed an agreement for 14 million barrels of petroleum. That's 7 supertankers to be delivered to China. And we have to ask ourselves, what's this all about? This is such a pittance in terms of the amount of oil that China imports. What's going on here?
That's correct, Ross. It is a sudden, by the way, because this agreement has been reached just since like August.
It's quick.
So, all of a sudden, China's pivoting to importing oil from the United States. Well, the idea has nothing to do with economics. The idea is, or this decision by China is politically motivated. This one comes on the heels of the China-US trade negotiations, the next phase that's coming up. So basically what China wants to do is to show a good faith that, hey, we've been importing oil from your country, so we are meeting our obligations under the trade negotiations.
And the timing couldn't be more perfect because the elections are coming up.
That's another reason as to why China's going with the import of the 7 tankers from the United States. But if we look at this from the big picture, it's nothing, because there are about 15 countries that China import oil from. And guess where the United States ranks?
Number 13.
13, which tells you what?
It's a pittance of purchasing oil.
That's it.
And it's so low on the list, it can't make any impact on our economy and probably none on China's.
No, I won't. Because when you look at, for example, the value of how much China imports from Saudi Arabia in comparison to that of the United States, you can't compare that. For Saudi Arabia, for China's importing oil from Saudi Arabia, it amounts to about $40 billion. So it's literally, these 7 tankers that China is going to be importing from the United States will mean nothing. It just...
Well, another important consideration here is the whispering, which is now becoming a shout, that the United States government might nationalize oil production in this country.
Am I hearing socialism here? Yes, there are, as a matter of fact, some debates going on in some the oil industry circles as to whether the government should nationalize the oil industry. Well, first of all, just to clear up all this confusion, this is not new. It has always been in American history that the United States government will step in when time goes bad for certain economies, to step in to assist with that.
But that's different from taking it over and nationalizing it. Now, we've certainly seen a lot of other countries that have nationalized it, some with good results and some with not. Take a look at Venezuela, for example.
You look at Iran, for example.
Iraq.
You look at Angola, for example.
It just goes on and on.
Or Soviet, or Russia, for that matter. All of them are nationalized, in other words, under the control of the government. In our case, it's a little bit different. And just to make it clear to our viewers that we had similar approach to this back in 1973.
When there were long lines, because Saudi Arabia cut us off.
That's correct, following the oil embargo. And it was a decision, I believe, in Congress in 1978 or 79 that pushed for this nationalization, except it didn't happen. Now, where the concern with all this is that if the oil industry here in the U.S. is nationalized by the government, what industry is going to be next?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And when we look at anything involving the government, what we see is politics, what we see is inefficiency, what we see is the government serves the government, not the people.
That's why they always say, if you ever hear that the government is going to do this because it's good for you, that's usually the reverse.
It's good for
What's
the government.
good for the government.
And
that
not
is.
necessarily good for you.
Exactly. And this is now where this issue of the all of a sudden, a lot of, because yesterday, as a matter of fact, it was a report released by the Federal Reserve in Dallas indicating that oil price is going to go up to 50. That's nonsense.
With the amount of oil that's available, it doesn't make sense.
It's not going to happen because most likely what we're going to see is the entire 2021 oil prices will remain low. This is how speculators usually try to push prices for. It's not going to happen because of the amount of oil that exists, the lack of the decision among the OPEC members, and of course now with the US production that is at low because of the cost associated with this. I mean, I don't remember if we ever mentioned this before or not, how much it costs certain countries to produce a barrel of oil. Guess how much it costs, for example, Kuwait to produce oil?
It's got to be somewhere at 10 to 15.
Not even that.
Really?
$7.80.
Wow.
How much it costs Saudi Arabia? $9.96. How much it costs Russia? About $17 to $18. And the United States, it's above 40. So you can just see why is the oil industry in the United States will be hit hard, or it is already hit hard. We do know this for a fact. And this is why you see this debate now, or the whispering of the word nationalizing the oil industry in the United States.
It also puts the China purchase in a different perspective, because they're not getting the best price.
No, they're not. They're not.
It's all political.
Because to them it's political. It has nothing to do, because they're not saving any.
Right.
Their main bulk of the oil is coming from other countries. Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, even the United Kingdom.
Wow.
So 7 tankers of 14 million barrels is nothing.
Here's something to keep in mind as the bottom line here. We're seeing political moves from China and the United States. We're seeing oil being purchased, which has nothing to do with the lack of oil available to China. And we're also seeing that government might be taking over and nationalizing the oil industry in the United States, and it is not for the good of the people.
Well, you're absolutely correct, Russ. And with what's coming up down the pipe as to what the government plans, especially like, for example, with the digital dollar, you might want to tune in for that. Because
This might be the digital dollar might be the hottest topic of 2020
and we're going to be talking about that.
at length.
As always, stay informed. Till next time. Bye-bye.